Hello friends, it's Evelyn here. Welcome to this, my very own little creative corner of the internet here on YouTube. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit that all important subscribe button for me because crazily 90% of my viewers aren't subscribed. So please be sure to do that. This week, I'm really excited about the content I'm going to be creating. Firstly, I'm going to be getting back to some vintage style sewing, and I'm creating something that's very needed because currently it is freezing in the Scottish Highlands. So I'm going to create some really comfy and cozy loungewear, vintage inspired, of course. And my friends, I'm also going to be chatting about a topic that's really close to my heart: body positivity. And this is something that I have struggled with myself, especially over the last few years with my cancer journey. So without further ado, my friends, let's get to some creating and chatting. What better time than a chilly January in Scotland to get sewing up some snuggly loungewear? And I've got the perfect fabrics for doing just that. Firstly, the rest of this gorgeous pale blue French terry. And then this stunning floral print brushed cotton flannel from my wonderful friends at Minerva. So without further ado, let's get making, my friends. So let's talk patterns. Having had a recent rummage through my pattern stash, I know that I want to make a version of this, an original vintage pattern, Butterick 2198. Now I've already made view D, the bloomers and baby doll from this pattern, which I love this time, and in view of it being absolutely freezing here this time of year, I'm going to create view C, the longer sleeved top and trousers. And I'm thinking a pink floral top with blue trousers and a blue waist tie. And because I have quite a lot of that super soft brushed cotton flannel, I'm also going to create some Harlow pyjamas. This free pattern is courtesy of the wonderful Gertie and Charm Patterns, and it's still available on their website. I'll pop a link in the description box, my friends. So to start, I'm batch pinning all of the first steps for all of the garments. The darts and pleats on the Butterick trousers, gathering stitches on the bodice upper edges, and also gathering stitches on the sleeve elbows too, as I'm going to do simple gathers there rather than the drafted darts for a comfier, easier fit. Then the darts and pleat on the Harlow pyjama bodice. So friends, I'm coming to you now from my little sewing sanctuary where I've been pinning all of my pieces for the first steps in this week's sewing creations. So I've decided, my friends, that instead of using the wide leg trouser from the Harlow pyjama pattern, I'm going to use a slightly slimmer legged trouser, and for that I'm using a recently drafted pattern from right here on the channel, my friends, the trousers from my vintage lounging set. I'll pop a photo and a card above to that too. So my friends, it's really important that all of my makes that I create are going to be accessible and easy for me to wear, especially since my cancer surgery in 2023. I don't tolerate things quite as tight around my midriff where my stitch marks are, my friends. So I know that that trouser pattern is really comfortable for me, which leads me to the topic for this little chat, which is body positivity. if you've been here for any length of time, my friends, with me here on the Evelyn Adore channel, you'll know that as a disabled sewist and creator myself, accessibility with garment wearing and creation is something that I am incredibly passionate about. And it became even more so following my cancer diagnosis and treatment. So something I'm really passionate about, together with body positivity. Now, this is a journey that actually over the last few years has been pretty negative for me because, goodness, take a deep breath there. I know you're all with me and I know that this is a place of love and support. So I am someone who has suffered with eating disorders in the past, and I've been both skinny shamed and fat shamed. Now, often I do get told, why have you been skinny shamed? Why have you been fat shamed? The biggest size I've ever been is a 10 to 12 UK size, and the smallest I've been is a 4 to 6. But yes, I have experienced both the skinny shaming and the fat shaming. Let me tell you, my friends, it's really difficult, isn't it? And that's one reason I love sewing and creating my own clothes, because it means that you're not stuck in those little boxes where if you go to a store or a shop, you have to fit a certain size or a certain criteria. And if you don't, shopping can be incredibly depressing. So the main point that I'm digressing, trying to get to today, my friends, is why don't we start to talk to ourselves about our bodies in the beautiful ways and caring ways we talk to our friends? Because it's become very apparent to me that I see so much beauty in my friends, and it's all I see. When I look at my friends, I don't see their flaws, I see their beauty. But when I look at myself on videos, and I'm probably going to do it after editing this video, or look at myself in the mirror, all I see is flaws. So one of my New Year's resolutions this year, my friends, is to start to speak to myself with that beauty and care. And it's going to be a really difficult task, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And yes, it's why I love creating clothes and drafting them myself, my friends. And while I am so passionate about telling everyone to create blocks of their own, because it means that you can create clothes to fit your body rather than making your body fit clothes that just don't fit. Seems like madness, doesn't it? Anyway, yes, so body positivity can be a really negative journey, but I'm trying, and I hope that you will come along with this, on this journey with me of self-discovery, of getting better and healing, and of course creating more gorgeous creations. I hope that wasn't a massive ramble. Let's get on with some sewing. Back to that sewing, friends. All those darts and initial steps sewn, it was time to sew the sleeve seams. Join the bodice front and back of the Harlow top together at the shoulder and side seams. And then construct the yoke and yoke facing for the butterick top. These two yoke pieces are then joined together all along the top edge. I also trimmed and clipped the seam allowances, understitching the yoke on the facing side for a clean and neat edge around that neckline. Then the front and back of the butterick top are joined at the side seams, ready for the yoke to be attached. Before attaching that yoke though, the sleeves need to be inserted. To make it easier to sew the yoke and top together, I've stay stitched at 1/2 inch around the yoke and yoke facing before clipping to that stitching. Spreading these clips will make it easier to pin and stitch the pieces together. Yoke attached around the top neckline, the raw edge of the facing side is then turned to the inside for a super neat finish. Pinning this in place, I turned to my faithful Betty to see how this piece was coming together. And I was not disappointed. With the day drawing to a close and the light fading rapidly, it was time to stop sewing for the day. The next day it was on to those trousers, my friends, beginning by joining each pair of fronts to a pair of backs along the inside and outside leg seams. Before pinning and sewing those crotch curves. Waistbands were my next task, beginning with the butterick trousers. I underlined the waistband piece with a layer of pale blue scuba from my stash to give it some stability, but to not compromise too heavily on the stretchability of the French terry, because I want these trousers to be super comfy. Folded in half lengthways, the short ends of that waistband are then sewn. I installed a simple invisible zip into the centre back seam of the trousers rather than creating the side drafted button closure, as buttons can really be an issue for me this time of year in the cold. One edge of that waistband is then pinned all around the waistline of the trousers, placing one finished short end at the zip edge on the left side, allowing for an overlap on the right. That overlap is stitched, and then the remaining raw edge of the waistband is turned to the inside before it's pinned and then hand stitched in place. I took this opportunity too to also hand stitch the facing on the yoke. These trousers are then finished with some hook and loop tape on the under and overlap. It's all about ease, comfort and accessibility this week, my friends. On to the waistband on the other trousers. So many garments this week. I created a simple elasticated waistband for the trousers, just like the one I created for my 40s lounging set right here on the channel. So be sure to check out that video for an in-depth tutorial on that. There's a card above. I also created some simple cuffs in contrast French terry for those pyjama bottoms as well. You wait until you see these in the reveal, my friends. They are so cute. So my friends, there we go, my first makes of this year. I did bite off quite a lot this week with 4 garments created, but I absolutely love the resulting loungewear, particularly the trousers from the butterick pattern, although they are a bit on the big side, since this pattern is drafted for a 28-inch waist and a 38-inch hip, which is a little bit bigger than my actual sizing. Having said that, my friends, I cannot wait to redraft this pattern slightly smaller to create some suiting trousers really soon, because I absolutely love the style. Here as well, my friends, are some pictures of these makes flat laid out, because it was a little bit crazy in my house trying to get footage this week. Anyway, my friends, take care and stay safe, and I'll see you next week. Bye!